Please stand and give the pledge allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Mr. Hines is asked to lead us in prayer, if you will. Stand, sit, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. Mr. Hines, you have the floor.
Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. On you I wait all the day. Lord, I ask a blessing over this meeting of the City Council, a blessing over each member. Dear Lord, be here tonight, guide and directing. Bring a unity and your peace and protection over this meeting and our city. I ask in Jesus' name. Now the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Alrighty, are there any additions to the agenda? I have a couple, actually here. Under the consent agenda, we're gonna add the liquor license for Fairway Shores and the liquor license for Ridgewood Bay. So under the consent agenda, those two will be approved. And then I want to add, under letter A of engineering here, whatever, if we do approve the Sandy Lake, the quotes for that, whatever, that will be contingent to easement establishment. And then letter G, we want to add, we talked about 303rd here at our last road workshop. And I would like to have a discussion at least on and/or scheduling the date to for a meeting, for an informational meeting for the residents. That is all I have. Mr. Walker, do you have anything?
Discuss farmers market business.
Business, that'll be. Okay. Mr. Rush, anything?
No.
Holm, anything?
Oh, yes, under new business, discuss, future of the 30 acres down the road.
Talking about the 30 acres that the city owns on 9
Yeah.
and 45?
Yes, city property down the road. Discussion.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Mr. Case?
Nothing.
All right, with that.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
For the month of June, we have a beginning balance of $1,155,438.43. Receipts of $16,425.95. Disbursements of $190,816.26, leaving an unaudited ending balance of $981,048.12. We received the check from the county yesterday, so that is not included on this. It was approximately like $748,000.
Thanks. Any questions for the treasurer? None. We'll move into public comment requests. We have one here, and that is Scott Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt, if you would, step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Scott Schmidt, 14215 285th Avenue, Zimmerman, Baldwin City.
We want to talk about an easement across some street.
Thank you very much for having me. I feel very blessed. Give you a little update that last fall you gave me the approval to brush cut ours plus the city portion of the property, which we did in March. Turned out pretty nice, we think. And now we're at the next portion of this project is we would like to get an easement. I had sent, I don't know if Dan shared it with all of you, the portion of your parcel that we'd like to get an easement across to get access to the lake. which would be our next portion going forward with a permit to clean that portion out. So we're asking for that easement.
Okay, again, can we even do this, Bob?
Can I ask some questions, please?
Please do.
What, is this a temporary easement just for, just access?
This
to
would be
the park?
this would be a easement across your portion. It's a smaller piece. I don't know that they give you, I got maps too if you
But are
want.
you looking for something that is temporary in nature or permanent in
This would be a
nature?
permanent easement for us to clean that out to get access to the lake.
So it'd be an access easement to the lake for any purpose, or just for a limited purpose of doing maintenance?
No, this would be for using the lake to get access to the lake.
That is something, you own, do you own this land in fee, or do you have an easement over it? I'd have to look at the title.
This was the issue that was discussed previously where they want to excavate the part of Elk Lake that's this little bay.
Was that this area?
Yep, and this is the land that was dedicated to the public with the plat.
Which
So-
doesn't give us clear ownership of it.
It-
Talk about
it-
selling it.
When we talked about purchasing it.
I would have to, this would be one of those, sir, I'd have to maybe, well, get your contact information and then look at the title work and see what interest we have to be, if, and then be able to advise the city council whether they have a legal right to, you know, what is our interest in the property, and therefore what interest could we convey?
Yeah, the last time I think that you made comments on it is that you're not a fee simple owner on it, that the people had donated it to the city with the idea that you'd make a park or do something with it where the boat landing was.
But what I need to do is also look at some recent law changes in that area. And so that is something, again, I wouldn't automatically say no, I'd have to look at the statute. Traditionally, the court cases have always said, all you get is an easement. When it was dedicated by the person who plats under chapter 505.01, they have to tell us if they're dedicating anything. In this plat, it sounds like they dedicated the park right-of-way. Usually they dedicate the road right-of-way and also any drainage and utility easements. What I need to do is now look at the case law and the statutes and say what interest was conveyed to us. Because if it was conveyed to us for park purposes, we may own that in fee. But I have to go back and check. And so I'm
Counselor-
not saying no, I
Counselor,
have to go back and look.
If you were, let's say it was an easement that they gave you for it, you could assign the easement to a portion of it, couldn't you?
I'm not sure I can do that without violating the term, I mean.
We have to
because
see,
it's
we have to see what the
given to-
original agreement is, yeah.
I have to go back and look at the language and then make a determination. And so I would need the blessing of the city council to do that. Because that will take some time to look at the documents.
Yeah, just a little more clarification, Bob, that this land pretty much is pretty much useless to us for anything in it. People wanted to purchase it in the past, and that's where this discussion came up. Scott's been to the park committee a few times on that, but yeah, the land's not, he's done maintenance on it in the past for us,
Right.
with the brush clear cutting and everything, so.
I understand the concept. I understand, if I remember right, the issues with the land. I just don't, I've got to just look at documents as you're asking me to give a legal determination, and he wants to be, he wants to be able to rely on that determination. I just need to go back and look at the plat, look at the case law, and then, and what he is asking for is not an easement is it over the whole?
No, just the portion, if you look up on the screen there, the green portion.
Okay.
We own Steve Hebe and I own the 2.5 acres just to the south of it, and the city owns that parcel right above us.
So again, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying I would need to look at the law and the facts and make a determination. And that if this is that project a year ago or?
Correct.
Okay, I'd have to go find that file and look, and I may have already done the research, but if I haven't, am I authorized to look at this stuff and figure this out?
Question, Mr. Schmidt, has DNR indicated a willingness if the city grants the easement to let you clean?
Here's their distinction on it, is that we are allowed to apply for the permit. Worst case scenario is that they will, if we could get the easement across, we could put a walkway across the whole wetland there into the lake to get access to the lake. Of course, we don't want the walkway. We'd rather have it cleaned out so we can clean the whole thing out and restore it the way it should be done. So
But the easement is necessary to even be.
even the walkway to get we'd have to get that to get to the shoreline. And the idea is giving those 12 people, those 12 property owners then at least access, or if we can clean it out, then it'd be shoreline. So, and it's very similar to the project we did over on the north side of the lake there. I did in 2013. They did it 2 years ago again, where they cleaned out that inlet area. This one just was never done
In
before.
that project, we ultimately approved access to the lake across that property.
Correct.
Again, too, I mean, as we're looking
Yeah,
at this,
not,
if this is possible to do something. I mean, permanent easement, whatever, just kind of, the hair goes.
right.
That's all. And first of all, I think we need to determine.
And then first of all, the question is, what interest do we have that we could convey? Then the next question is a policy call for the council. What do you wish to convey? And the other question I would have, if it was dedicated for park purposes and we're giving people access to get to the lake over a public park, do we even need to grant a permanent easement to anyone? I can understand why somebody might want it to make something, quote, permanent, but I don't know that that's legally necessary for the purposes of getting access.
You're saying because it might be a public parcel that you could go ahead and grant access irregardless?
Yes, because it's public park and we control the park and we might do that by ordinance,
Right.
And as I understand it, this was, public as a beach.
Is, but it was granted as a beach.
So, I mean, I don't know if there's any confusion, parks and beach.
I have researched that in the past, and there's a lot of different names and stuff. And the courts in the past, unless the law has changed, and I haven't looked at this in 20 years, but for City of Waukon, I did some research a long time ago, and it was all, as long as it was all sort of that same category of park, that didn't matter how it was specifically labeled on an old plat. So they didn't have a lot of as complete standards like they kind of have now. So, but I would still need to just review everything. And I may have, honestly, may have been a year or so ago, I may have already looked at this. I may not have to reinvent the wheel, but if I do I have the blessing of the council to do this work?
I'll give the motion to one to bed then.
Second.
I'll second that.
Motion, any further discussion? Just one point of clarification. I mean, if, you still would need the permit from the DNR to be able to do anything here, and to use the easement that we'd be talking about at this.
I would still need,
For a reason.
right, in order for us to go, anything below water, everything below the water is handled by the DNR. So for us to do anything, we'd still need a permit from them.
I have a motion and a second to send Bob on a quest. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any
Can
other?
before you move on, Dan, what was this called a year or so ago? Did you?
I'll have to look it up. I'll find it.
I've got to just look and find because I may have done all this research already.
Okay, Joan, were there any other public comment requests? All right, I'll close the public comment request portion, and we go to the approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Make motion to approve.
Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Or, yeah, is there a second?
Oh, I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, engineering. Discuss, approve, disapprove quotes received for the 2026 Sandy Lake and Lake Diane project.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So we went out for quotes for the 2026 Sandy Lake and Lake Diane Improvement Project. Once plans were approved at last month's council meeting, we sent out to 5 contractors. We received quotes from 2 of those 5. Nation letter below, we received one from Hoyt Excavating for $67,500, and the other from TS Dirt Works, which was $94,900. Both of these contractors have done acceptable work for the city in the past. It's being right down the street right now, and Hoyt doing Sandy and Diane projects from last year. So with that being said, we would recommend that the city would choose Hoyt as they are the price. However, I also did want to point out this price was still higher than our engineering estimate that was provided to the city. So again, with all that being said, but with added contingency that the mayor had added to the agenda, we are still waiting on the construction easement for Sandy Lake. Council is to approve a quote that is, again, receiving the temporary construction.
For the wishes of the council.
I'll make a motion to approve on. Yep.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Discuss, approve, disapprove letter of credit reduction for the Meadows of Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So the Meadows of Baldwin development is underway within the city. The development has not been accepted by the city yet, but the developer does have the right per the developer's agreement to ask for a reduction in their letter of credit as work commences. So we have conducted a review of the development as a whole, provided some pricing that we see reasonable for what the LOC should be reduced to. Should reasonably be reduced down to $124,500. But this has to go through council approval before that.
What are the wishes of the council? Your recommendation is to reduce.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
They do anything to cover that sand pile?
I mean, for like erosion purposes.
Yeah,
I mean,
drifting in the wind and.
sure. They actually did get called by the MPCA. They didn't have comments regarding that. Issue if that stuff were to wash out, so I can look into something further if that's some city has.
Well, I just, other places where they hydro seeding or something over a big pile that's gonna be there for a while, and just all winter it was just a big sand pile blowing in the wind. If anybody's familiar with it? You familiar with it?
That's 2 years,
Oh, you had that next door to you?
Yes.
Just bringing it up.
Just saying. All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, discuss, approve, disapprove letter of credit reduction for Oaks of Battlebrook Second Edition.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So very similar situation, same developer, but their other development, the Oaks Battlebrook Second. They again have also requested a reduction in the LOC. Again, this similar with the Meadows, this development has yet to be accepted by a council. We are recommending that LOC be reduced to per the developer's agreement, the 10% warranty value, which is 10% of the original LOC. So down to $63,084. And again, this doesn't mean the warranty period is starting at all or that the city is accepting it. This is just the lowest we're allowed to.
Wishes of the council?
Make a motion to reduce it down to $63,084.
Your second?
I'll second that one too.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Carries. Letter D, approve, disapprove Hardy Homestead escrow reduction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So as everyone is aware, we did recommend approval of the Hardy Homestead development last year, or last meeting. This should have probably been brought up at that time, but it was, I didn't know that there was an escrow held with the city still. So given that the development has been accepted, I'm recommending that the city release the escrow value down to $24,035, or from $27,035.97 down to $3,000. The city should hold on to $3,000 of that escrow, as there'll probably be some staff time used slightly throughout the 2-year warranty period, checking in on the development and all that. That'll help pay for all those fees associated with it.
Escrow leaving 3,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Some discussion. Weren't there, some boulders kind of out by the culvert, so that's still
Yeah,
there?
so that's kind of partly why we want to hold on to some of that money, because the next page from this attachment is just some work we want the developer to address during this 2-year warranty period. I did send this out to city last week.
Okay, I just wanted the mayor to know, cause you know, there's some boulders in the right of way. Culvert ends.
Head walls.
On the,
Head walls, are you gonna call them head walls or just?
oh, that's Ed Walzer's, your.
There was an RV. Was there an RV out there too?
Yeah, there was a camper.
We went on the road tour?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Discuss right-of-way ordinance and right-of-way permit application drafts. Sam, I'll let you take that to start with.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council. So hopefully everyone can bear with me here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Myself and a colleague were able to dive into the Article 2 of the city right-of-way ordinance, as well as the right-of-way permit application form. And in our review of it, we really found some contradicting information between what the ordinance has compared to the supplementary documentation, such as the application form, and even looking further beyond that, the fee schedule. And it can really make it confusing when reviewing all this in the ordinance, how the process of right-of-way permits. So kind of want to discuss those issues we were seeing and reviewing everything, and then we also kind of took it upon ourselves to come up with some drafts that I also would like to discuss with everyone, make this process a little more streamlined and just have a better structure for how right-of-way permits. So with all that being said, I'll start with what the ordinance currently shows now. So right-of-way permits, according to the ordinance, it's not really set up as one overall right-of-way. Per the ordinance, there's actually 3 different types of right-of-way permits. There's an obstruction permit, an excavation permit, and then the third type is a combination of those two. So it's not a different third one, it's just the same combination. I handed out a little kind of discussion guide tonight to everyone. It has those 3 permits on there. So you can see their definition per the ordinance. But I also have examples listed of the type of work that would associate to each type of permit. I'll go through those quickly just so everyone has a better understanding of the work that would be applied to each type of permit. So kind of the first one and more common is an excavation permit. So the utility company has to go through, put in a new gas line or communication line they're working on or underground. For it, trenching, they would need an excavation permit. The one that's a little more, probably not as common as that, is then an obstruction permit. So a good example for this is, say there's a utility pole that needs work or a power line. Utility company needs to get in there. They're not necessarily digging underground or doing excavation, but they are doing work in the right of way just above the roadway. They probably have some vehicles or equipment sitting on the roadway. That would be an obstruction permit. 3 is just a combination of those 2. So that's really how the right-of-way ordinance permit system within the right-of-way ordinance is currently set up. It's 3 different types of permits, and that's totally fine. The ordinance is written out like that. However, what gets confusing is when you compare this to our current form, application form, nowhere on the form does it really state what type of permit it is. It just treats it as an overall right. Look even further beyond that at the fee schedule, there's just one set right-of-way permit fee. Ordinance, each one of those three types should have their own fee associated with it. So it's really contradicting between our forms and the fee schedule compared to what the ordinance has. So with all that being said, does anyone have any questions up until this point? Those were kind of the issues we saw in reviewing all this.
I don't know where to start, you know, I mean, because to date, basically what happens is if Conexus comes in and they're gonna put in a new gas line, and they wanna do that, ultimately, they would get a hold of Kayla and/or fill out the forms that we have. And then Kayla would send that to me and I would look at it and I would authorize it and/or approve it and/or say, look out over here because we know there's a problem over there. And then the only part that I've come to realize that didn't really have in place was the fact of the specific line item. You are responsible, whoever they are, responsible for everything in the ditch. It does say it needs to be restored back to what it was. And also too with this, I'd always thought that also would mean if it washed out or if something terrible happened, whatever, we'd have to get some rectification to this. And all of this came about, not long after, Tom, you and I got on the board, you know, when the cul-de-sac started floating north and we didn't even have a road right-of-way permitting process at that point. Yep, you were here as well, yes.
When they whacked into a,
Yeah, so, and that was in Baldwin Meadows, not the Meadows of Baldwin, Baldwin Meadows. Anyway, right, and so ultimately what we found out was the gas company, I do believe it was Mini Gasco back in that, came around whatnot, trenched in a new gas line to all the homes, whatever. There was no process in place for them to alert the city they were gonna be doing that. And then it turned out that so the water table's so high there, they had a whole bunch of underground drain tiling and stuff like there, water, and the next thing you know, literally that cul-de-sac, 66-foot diameter hunk of asphalt, floated up and was starting to flow north, right? There was a foot gap between the road and that cul-de-sac. Once we found out this happened, ultimately we called the gas company and, well, you know what they said, good luck, you know, it's not us. So that was a $15,000 endeavor for the township at the time, you know what I mean, to take on to fix all of that. So hence what started why we have this process that we've been using in place. And my question is when we think about fees and things like that, I mean, maybe we're supposed to, you know, but I don't know if it's right that, you know, when Midco comes in or Windstream comes in, whatever, and wants to do something, are we gonna charge them a permit fee? I mean, maybe we should be charging them a permit fee. And maybe this has now gone to a point where pretty much all of these needs to go in front of the engineer. If that's the case, then yes, we need to do it. It's been a very, very simple process up to this point in time where it comes to me, I look at it and I say, yep, we don't have anything buried there, whatever, because they're still gonna wind up doing their 811 calls, the locates and doing all those kind of things. The question was, is how deep should we be involved? I'm gonna look at Bob and ask, you know, the protection of the city, you know, what we have in place apparently, since we've gone, is not enough to keep the precision. If that's the case, then I would certainly think we need to change that.
Well, the question for these right-of-way permits typically comes down to, as you can see here, certificates of insurance, that they have insurance in case they do something, but also security. Just like in developer's agreement, we always require some sort of a security. Yes, you have a contractual obligation, developer, to build the roads and grade the property and so forth pursuant to the terms of the contract, but we want that backstopped by a letter of credit, usually 125% of or more of whatever we believe the construction cost will be. In the same manner here, on these permits, if you look at the application form, that is something as a condition of granting the permit, and you do allow into your terms of your ordinance to put conditions on this in certain situations where it's deemed beneficial to the community, you can say we need X dollars in security. that would probably be something that you would have to have the input from the city engineer and construction. I mean, just like we do for developers agreement. The developer puts together their estimated cost of what they think, and then they hand it over to Sam, who looks it over and says either yes or no. Or you need to come back with more information for me to make that decision. The number that I include in the security always comes from the engineer. That, I think, is where you, simple things were right-of-way permits, you may not need Sam's input, but things that look like they're more complicated, then maybe we do. I'm not sure where that line is, and that may be something that maybe we can discuss between, like, you know, Dan, Sam, and I, and you, as a person who's historically issued these permits, about where is that line of where you feel like you can issue the permit and where Sam needs to get involved as a consultation. You'd be the person probably still issuing the permit. I created a form, which is not part of the packet here tonight, but a delegation of authority to you officially for that. But I think there needs to be a discussion as to when under what circumstances or situations do you get Sam involved to give you advice as to what the letter of amount of security needs to be.
Well, and I think a lot of I think we're having a discussion about two different things. Well, two different types of projects. Because if we have, even in a new development, right, so, I mean, the new development happens, the road right-of-way has already been established, that's already in, now they start building houses in this. Right now, Connexus is gonna come in and say, we're gonna run electric into them. All of that stuff is pretty much all said and done, and I don't know how much more our legal or anything like that. That's already there, here it is. That one's kind of a no-brainer. If we're gonna have one here where that the onset of the development, well, that's a whole different story. What we're talking about.
But in the two types you were talking about here, new development with a plat, you know, where it is covered by the approved plans that have already been reviewed by the city engineer and has already been blessed, and we know we have that letter of credit and the developer's agreement to back it all up, that kind of takes the place of this permit. By that contract and the approvals that have gone through the planning commission and the city council, we have given them permission, subject to these terms, to do that work. So that, I think, is covered.
So then maybe they don't even need to apply for those at that point.
The question then would be, do you want them to apply so they can be registered so you know where those utilities are? But maybe you don't, there's not that requirement for that security. But you still may want them to tell you they're burying stuff and where they're burying it, unless it's already shown in the approved plans, and I don't know that level of
A
detail.
lot of times they draw on the map.
Mr. Mayor, I've been waiting to say something here. Fucking A.
I'm getting to you, and don't use that language.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Stop it. Enough of that. I've had as much of your mouth.
Oh, you've ignored me about 3 passes
I
here.
have not. We
I
have
got something to say.
conversations going between these
Shit.
two gentlemen and me. What? You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For these utility projects that are not in a new subdivision, the reason why we started at the back of the time was just for the purpose of, we want to know who came and did work at when and how. So when there is damages, we know who to go back to because of what happened in that cul-de-sac. The fee was just a nominal fee, wasn't about collecting a fee, it was just, hey, we want this recorded. So it was just a very simple fee, and when you get talking about fees, when you're charging them to Connexus or the utilities, in some cases like Connexus, it would be a fee upon ourselves. So if we charge an absorbent amount to have a big level of review, and then Connexus has gotta pay it, it just gets passed back to all of the members here in the long run. It's the same thing with, you know, they don't pay to have trim your tree, because you're just gonna pay for it in your utilities, you know.
So can I ask a follow-up?
Yep.
Are you saying, so basically what you were really trying is the second form that Sam provided, the registration form, where you wanted to know who is putting utilities in the road right-of-way and having them register so that the city is aware of that, so that we can help regulate that, because you may have a situation where you tell them, all of your utilities have to be in a certain location, so that everybody knows that's where your stuff is buried. And also for future road projects and other projects, you know, putting culvert, whatever it is, know what's in your road right
Well,
away.
you're talking the next level of being.
But it's all tied into this same exact ordinance. That's
Right.
why it's all of this is, yes, it's different topics, but it's all covered by this ordinance. So what we're trying to figure out from the council is, do you want new development to be singled out in this ordinance so that if something is covered by a developer's agreement and letters of credit and security, that's handled differently? Or do you want everything to come through this ordinance where Nexus, who may be covered by the developer's agreement, but also has to register?
I would say the latter, what you just said.
So they still,
Covered by the developer's agreement, but
so if there is something like that, because what we're working on now is trying to update this ordinance to reflect what your goals and policies are. So I think so are you agreeing with Tom's statement?
Well, I was just giving you the, why we even started with it. I gave you the background. It was, we just didn't know who was there, and now we want someone on record. They came and got a permit, they were in there, they did the work, they effed something up and walked away. Now we call them back and say, hey, now you were here, you made a mess, get back.
Well, but that also goes to this same thing, even if it's covered under a developer's agreement. You may not need that security that the ordinance would have for a new permit being issued because we have that letter of credit, but we still need to know who's doing the work, because if they do create a problem, we're gonna go back under that, and we may go back to the developer and say, your subcontractor did this, we're taking this money from you because it's part of your approved plans, you should have overseen this, you are the one that needs to go chase this person. But again, that's what we're having this discussion, so we know what it is you want us to do. Then we have to make sure that the language of this ordinance ultimately captures that. Yes.
yeah, real quick, like Midco coming in, they're providing, you know, high-speed internet, another competitor. I think something like that would be more a permit and where they're doing it, because there was places that were missed. Pass or something like that, a big project. Yeah.
Yeah, and he brings that up, a great point, that literally when Midco came in, they said, we want to do this block or this spot, or anyway, much larger than, what I guess I'm talking about is one home, right? You know, they're gonna run in a new internet to one home. You know, how deep do we need to get? When we drive by, we say, hey, they dug a hole here, but they fixed it. But in the case of Midco, when they did that, they wanted to come across the entire township at the time, you know what I mean, and do all that.
And here is the reason.
That was a whole, anyway, that was treated very differently. We got involved with that and legal and all kinds of
Exactly.
contracts.
And that is typically where these road right-of-way permit ordinances, even in the most rural areas of the state, are a blessing. Because here's the difference. For a developer, I have them under contract and I have their money. We have a guarantee of security. But for these other companies, they come in, they are gonna be here for a few days, they're gonna rush, they make mistakes, they don't, you know, they're in and out, and there is no place for me. I have to track down who it is. If they do damage, we have to find them. And number two, I can't just put it on, like if some neighbor does damage to the road, we send them a bill, you know, they're doing their landscaping and they do it, we can put it on their taxes. But we don't know, there's nobody, they don't own any land here, so there is no way to capture this. That's where I think Sam needs to come in and tell us right up front, that's why we put this ability to get a security in. Because there is no other, you're not gonna wanna pay me to go spend $30,000 to go after somebody for damage to the road that may be only a few $1,000s, but it's still an annoyance and it's still a cost to the city. But if we can get a security amount, then that's our way to make ourselves whole. The question, I guess, what I hear though is, and I'm gonna repeat it just to make sure, because we're gonna have to wordsmith this later. If we have security already guaranteed through a new development, that we may not need to capture that here in this ordinance a second time. But you would like whoever that utility company is that's doing work, that may be doing it under the new, to still have to at least register so we know where their utilities are. Is that a true, correct statement?
That is correct for me.
Then I have to ask Sam, is there a reason why we would need to know more than that? Literally, we're gonna have, where the pedestals are generally and the transformers are generally where the electric's gonna come from and where the internet's gonna come from. We'll have some kind of an idea, anything that ever goes on there, whether we're working in our own right way or somebody else, will be determined at that point in time with the locate. So I'm just worried about making a big mountain of what seems to have been a molehill up to this point. And I think the last thing what happened was Midco did come in, and Windstream came in, and they wanted to do 3 roads. You know what I mean? And that, I think, was looked at internally by our staff to say, hey, that's a bigger project, and ultimately that just went. The next thing you know, we didn't know which was doing to what and to whom, and this is a product of trying to iron all of that out. I understand that, but.
So, if I could have a couple minutes. So, I know that you personally and Joan handle a lot of these. So, we kept that in mind when reviewing this. And the fact that the ordinance is the ordinance, it's in place. I mean, it's city ordinance, it should be followed. The way it's set up now is just not how the city's currently operating. How I was explaining, there's 3 different types of ordinances. The city really just treats one right-of-way permit, so you mainly want to know what the work's going on, just documentation for those. So with that kept in mind, this is why we kind of took the liberty of making some drafts to that ordinance, which were included tonight. Essentially gets rid of those 3, combining them all into one. Just have one road right-of-way permit. That would be probably the biggest addendum change, or not addendum, sorry, ordinance change. That would kind of be more in line with what the city's typically doing. With that, we would then propose revamping the application form, which is also attached, kind of giving everyone, it just kind of spells out more information about what's going on itself. I think the more information you can have, the better. And then back to your point on if, say you just want to keep handling, or if you want us to get involved, I would think, you guys have done so much of them. I think it would just be honestly a call on you. Hey, if we can't handle this, we need to get legal involved. I think that'd be as simple as just reaching out to us.
I'm just gonna say, had I had the original, just because I've been doing it, I don't need to be doing it. Somebody else to do it. But I mean, had I seen that particular one with Windstream, 3 streets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My question would have been to Windstream directly, is this the precursor to a much larger project? Or is this all that you're gonna be doing at this point in time? We can handle it accordingly, similar to what we did with Midco. If they're gonna start going across the township or the city now, whatever, then we're gonna handle it. So, and I think that, I guess, and this makes it just easy and streamlined. They can fill out the permits they're used to, whatever, or the application. We can let them know what we think, and if something goes awry, absolutely, you'll be the first one.
Yeah.
I think those permits, especially on the older projects, or older roads where there really isn't anything marked in them, I think it'd be a good thing to have the permits for that. That way in the future, you know where everything's laid out. Because sometimes I've seen it in the past, they bring gas lines in or power lines or something. Yeah, they got a little extra in there. They loop it around, they go in there, they mark it, but there's the loop out and they come in with a bulldozer. Next thing you know, you got gas spraying all over the place. Because it wasn't on the flat mat itself, At least it'd give you a little idea what was going on there before you start digging.
Mr. Mayor, may I? Sam, you mentioned that you've created a registration form.
Correct.
What information would you be requiring in that registration form? Because that seems to be the biggest issue for the council, is information about what's in their road right-of-way or may be placed in the road right-of-way.
So, simplified a little bit, the 2 forms I provided tonight. One is a form that's kind of the city's already doing. It's a right-of-way permit application form. So that has been revamped a little. But what we have also created on top of this is a registration form. So within the ordinance currently, under Article 2, before a permittee can even apply for a permit, they're supposed to go through this registration form first. This gives the city an idea that, they fill out this information, and even more importantly, with this registration form, this is when they supply their certificate of insurance. They only have to do this once, though. Then the city can keep this form with the insurance and the permittee's information on file. Say that permittee then wants to come in and do work a few months later. The city already has the registration form, the permittee would just have to go through and do the permit. But since this registration information is in the ordinance, but we didn't really have any kind of form whatsoever to show that information, that's why we created this form. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the city is kind of doing this already. I mean, Kayla gets the certificate of insurance all the time, I think. This would just be a form to then maybe put with that and kind of make the filing more streamlined.
Time together.
Once we have them all filled out, because usually they're the same ones over and over and over.
Yeah, and that just means it's less documentation we need to get when they actually do the permit. We'll already have their certificate on file with the registration. Permitting process streamlined. That's kind of behind the registration form, which is a
I mean, so far I would concur. Thoughts?
No, I just think, yeah, with this new registration form, developers are already covered. This will cover them for the utilities and stuff like that. I think what we can do is play case by case. If we have like a bigger project coming, that when you sign off on this, you're like, whoa, I better have Bob look over this or something to that.
Where I get involved a lot of times, my role is the securities that some of the utility companies will put forward. It's not unheard of for me to see Xcel Energy or some other company, that does a lot of work, and they will request that we accept a bond, and that bond will be good for like a 10-year period, and they just keep that on file with the registration and their certificate of insurance and stuff, because they do so much work. This just expedites everything. Number two, the other times that I've gotten involved is when it is a Mediacom, some other, major internet, usually it's internet, where they're putting it in, and they don't have something on file, and you want us to review their certificates of insurance to make sure that they have all the required information, and also the language of their security, because sometimes they leave things out, or it's very much too narrow. So those where I get involved. Where Sam gets involved is, reviewing where they're going to do stuff, how much the security amount should be, and those types of things, which, given his expertise, I couldn't tell you what it would cost to, Yes, sir.
What in regards to when they use subcontractors doing the work? They're gonna cover under the permittee, the one who's commencing the work, but they're funding the work, but however, they got subcontractors coming in.
Yes, on the
We do
form.
have that on the form,
Okay.
so that'd probably be their contractor.
So we would get the security from the general,
Yeah.
and then that would cover, I'm not chasing subs, but we need to know who they are.
What, I mean, are we getting their certificate of liability?
No, because we're going after the general.
They would have to have the umbrella over insurance, I think.
Yeah. Because it's the same thing with the developers agreements. We say, we've got a contract with you, developer. If you want to protect yourself, we're gonna.
They should have that on file for their subs in their office.
Exactly. And then the other thing is, like, example, a builder does damage to our roads. I have a developer's agreement that says any roads that are damaged because of the construction of the building or during the infrastructure improvements, construction or buildings, I'm going after you, developer, and I've got your letter of credit and your insurance money, and then you have to go, I had to explain this to a developer and his attorney. No, you have to go, when you make a purchase agreement and sell that lot to that builder, you want to make it in your own contract to protect yourself. But we're not going to go chasing people. At least that's the concept.
Okay, so, the next steps here, I think, would be for.
I think the next step would be to look over given the concepts that have been talked about here tonight, for your consultants, Dan, Sam, and I, to look over the right-of-way ordinance and make sure that we've covered everything that you guys have said, what your priorities are, what you'd like to see happen. If there's any wordsmithing that needs to be done, formatting, other things, we'll get that back to you for approval. There's no requirement for a public hearing for this type. It's just something that you guys would need to do. We'd do it in a summary format for publication. The other document that I think would need to be brought back to you, I think to justify what you've historically done, is a delegation of authority to the mayor to do the work that he's historically done. And it goes with I'm assuming here it's the office of mayor. It's not to Jay personally, it's to the office of mayor. That delegation, of course, can be always revoked at any time by the council. And so those would be the two things that I think would be the next steps. If you're okay with these concepts, then I think we need to come back with actual language, and then we need to come back with that delegation of authority resolution.
Can we,
I drafted it, I sent it, but it's not part of this packet here tonight.
Mr. Mayor, can we just keep it status quo and then just add this registration form in there? And
I don't believe that your ordinance is going to need to be amended. Your ordinance you've got three different types of permits in here. It's, unless you want to keep everything and have a separate application for obstruction, a separate application for excavation, or a combination. I think what Sam is getting to is, from his point of view, and from mine and Dan's, it's too complicated to keep track of. And you haven't been doing it. So let's streamline your ordinance, and then it's like a contract. When I draft it, I come back a year or so later and I ask, well, how's that contract? Oh, yeah, well, we don't really follow that. Well, then tell me what you do, and let's rewrite it. As long as everybody agrees, we can change it to reflect how you're operating. That's what we want to do. We want to take what you're currently doing and put language that gives that effect, and so nobody can complain later. So I do think you do need to amend. Not much, but you are going to need to make some changes to this.
That was part of the discussion I wanted to have tonight too, is maybe the city wants to keep those three intact, but I don't know. We didn't know that we're doing this. It sounds like the city mainly just handles it as one overall. That was the assumption we made in the draft.
And unless that, and I guess the language would have to say whether it's the mayor or whoever ultimately ends up with at their discretion. If it was something much larger than that, we meet every 2 weeks. So if there was something larger than that, much larger than that,
I mean, as it is right now, under your ordinance, the city council should be issuing each of these permits. And so that's why we want to make sure that you have some, if the city councils, it's that your authority under the ordinance, you can delegate that authority to the mayor, who has historically been taking on that role, just making sure everything is legal and making sure that the city council is blessed to that, because it's your power.
forward in that trajectory. Authorize these guys to bring back language we can adopt.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, letter F, discuss, approve, disapprove construction pay application number 1, 2026 street reconstruction project.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So TS Dirt Works has been moving right along. The project has been shouldered, topsoiled. It's really just needs to be restored now to finish up.
Good.
So in front of everyone tonight is the pay application for the work they did for the month of May. So this would hopefully be approved by council for payment, and then hopefully there'd be just one more coming in June. Have maybe a final payment even in July. This is just the work that was completed.
And And there's a bunch of line items. Amount due this application will be 162.62, 632.35, correct?
So I can explain a little bit if everyone would like. There's, really, they've done $171,191.95. But we hold on to a 5% retainage throughout construction. Or as they complete more and more work, so you take that 171 minus the 5% retainer, and then that's how you get the 162.
Wishes of council.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty, and then, letter G now is, we talked about at our last road workshop, whatever, to schedule a meeting with the people on 303rd to let them know that this would be coming. Have on here is to schedule that meeting. Way we want to go about doing this, do we want to pick a date and then send them a letter and say, please come? Do we need more time to figure out exactly what the project is going to look like? Well, we won't have exactness.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But, because it'd be nice to put something in front of them to say, here's what
I think something as early as next month could easily happen. I think maybe pick a few dates. I can bring them back. Probably be Shane and myself involved.
Holiday.
Yeah.
So, and, so then let's bring this back, to the mid-July meeting maybe with more information. So let's table this knowing that you're gonna figure those things out, whatever.
We do it to July 1st?
Well, let's do the mid-July, cause that'll be after the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all, the only reason
July
is,
1st, we could pick a date, like maybe mid-July.
I was gonna say, even if the council wants to throw a few dates out tonight, I can relay that information on to Shane in my office. Otherwise, it can be tabled until next week.
I just want to have all of our ducks in a row, that's all. Dates. Say we're gonna have the meeting in July no sooner than later July, right?
Yeah, mid to late.
July 20. Monday. Does that not work? Wednesdays are used up for everything that we've got.
Talking evening or?
Evening, yeah.
That'd be fine with me.
So how about, let's say the 20th or the 27th? 2 Mondays in a row and see how that. Motion to tentatively approve 20 and 27.
Motion, 20th and 27th at 7 PM.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty, is there anything else under engineering, Sam, that we might have missed or that you?
Sorry it took so long.
Oh, no, not a problem.
Mr. Mayor, did you add, signatures for Sandy Lake, or did we already? For the easements, or is that later on?
It was already added.
That was added.
It was added to the engineering. He had added as part of engineering A, contingent on easement.
Okay, okay, so so this is a quick question on that. Are we okay to have, staff to go out there since one of the members not mobile to sign it? Those
You
easements?
deliver the agreement out to him to have it
Yeah,
signed?
to get notarized?
No, there's no, that was anticipated.
Okay, just want to make sure. Because the other sister can do it no problem on her own, but it's just the other one.
So so Tom, what I understood from Joan, to correct me, is that Dawn, one of the sisters, who I emailed the easement documents to, was gonna get it signed and notarized and overnight it to Vince and Darla, I think of the other sister and her husband, who also need to sign it. And Darla has some mobility problems, so that, so Zach and someone from the office here who's a notary were gonna go to their house and witness their signatures, and it was gonna be executed in counterparts, which I told Joan is perfectly okay. So once we get Dawn's back and Darla's and Vince's, we are just going to staple those all together, put those in a file. We are not going to record those because they're just temporary. Why pay the filing, recording cost and burden the title records? And then if anybody does challenge us because we're trespassing, we have that to show them. Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, Frontier Trails update, May 2026 wastewater operations summary. Joan, I think at this point in time, there are no alarms, site is operational, ongoing adjustments to controls are happening as necessary. I don't know that there's any more that we need to dive into. There's no problem, so all is well. Let's call it that. Letter B, discuss revenues and expenditures for Frontier Trails. Joan, you got the number? It would appear that we took in $6,986 and we spent $77.64. So we have a little bit of a loss at this point in time, but some of that was going to be NSU's 296. Wildlife management, there was $1,000 that was added to this for the control of the gophers. And then natural systems utilities, there was a $542 charge for the March council meeting that they came to. The electric was the same, things were all the same, but there was a couple extras there, which is what we would have.
And Mr. Mayor, real quick, the sewer fund right now is 45,988.07, right, Joan, on the treasurer's, is that?
Yeah, so the second payment that we receive in July, we'll get something.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now, letter C, discuss, approve, disapprove quote from NSU for telemetry units. So, these would be the, installed, basically telemetry units, radio units, if you will. They have a bid, there's supposed to be, daily recorded flow rates. And we've never had necessarily daily recorded flow rates, right? But according to the MPCA permit, we're supposed to have daily recorded. And we really don't understand why we haven't either been called on this or this has not been 10 years now, literally 10 years now, right? So we don't quite understand why this is, suddenly a problem. However, what would happen if these were installed, their cost, their bid, their quote to install these is $14,566. So what would then happen is there would also be a $505 service fee, guard dog on the personal cloud network. Yearly cost of the subscriptions for these would be $505 per year per device. So, I guess what are the, I don't, at this point in time, I mean, I guess what I need to know from our guys is, do we really need to do this?
If it is a requirement of the MPCA permit, yes, you do. Because if you don't do it, and all of a sudden they want to make an issue of it, you are now no longer in compliance with their permit, and each non-violation escalates in terms of any violation penalties and fees and stuff. So if this is something that is legally required under that permit, I would encourage you to do it before they make an issue of it.
Well, the daily reporting is legally. I'm not sure it's legally required that $14,000 worth of telemetry units, be installed. That's my question.
I don't know how this operates and how that interplays with that. If it is required to have that information, then I would say yes. If it is just something that makes Natural Systems Utilities' life easier in getting that information, then that's a policy call for the council. I just don't know how that interplays, how it works.
And, yes. Let's see here. If anything were to fail the water level, this is going to be a 24-hour monitoring system on the, right? It'll send them notifications if something goes wrong. This is just, it's a modernization basically of the way that the system is handled. And I mean, from just a face value here, this would be a one-time cost of $14,000, which would be the burden of the
Residents.
The residents.
That's what I was gonna say, Mr. Mayor. I think, with this big of expenditure, at least we can pass it on to Julie to let her know, if we go down this route, because I mean, she does know about it?
She does know about it. She's also asked that she's out of the country at the moment. whatever it
okay.
is, so she could be.
I just don't want a shell shock more like, hey, what's this?
They're
15?
aware that this is coming and that this is a possibility. It's just that, and there's dollars in the account. As a one-time fee, I would think that, as a one-time fee, and check me if I'm wrong, because in the long run, I think the cost of doing this is gonna be cheaper than saying, guess what, we don't want you to do that. But we wanna make sure that you send somebody out there every day and track low rates and whatnot. Handle the permit. This will be cheaper than having them do that.
My understanding, and Sam can change, my understanding of this, of the communities that I have either working with currently or worked with in the past that have these community treatment systems have this set up. And there have been times when these alarms, if this is part of what these alarms have gone off and have saved homes from a lot of damage. Because the alarms that went off, somebody was alerted, and they knew that somebody had to go and check on this. So it is a service that I do think is of value. But I can't tell you legally that it's required versus if it's part of the permit from the MPCA, then it's legally required, and there's no discussion, you need to do it. However, if it's not, and this is something that is an extra, this is more of a policy call. But I do understand why that they recommend this.
Sounds like this is above and beyond what the MPCA.
The actual telemetry units, yes, you know, they just want their reporting. This is how NSU is proposing to get them.
I can't per se how other communities that we've worked with at least do it. I could ask some colleagues at our office to see if they have additional information. Again, maybe there is some technology out there that would only get the information you have to get.
And then the other question for your operator would be, how much is this costing us right now to do this? And is there any cost savings if we implemented this? Not only do we get the benefits of an alarms and stuff and have instant knowledge, but how much savings on how much it's costing you right now that we're being charged by the hour for to gather this information? And then maybe this is something that the residents could be presented with that information, get input from them if you wished, and then make the decision. It's ultimately your call.
Devices help in two ways. One is the MPCA compliance for daily flow permit. Two is the ability for us, NSU, to see issues, know what they are before they become. So this is a monitoring system. Question is yes, how much would this save us?
Question would be too, what would be the cost if this wasn't in place and there was an issue, say, where no one's, how much damage is that gonna do and what would that cost be?
Up like both you're thinking.
Yeah.
We'll have another conversation. But let's table this until
July 1st?
July 1st meeting.
So moved.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that. Is there a second on tabling?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All righty. Road report, Mr. Walker.
Road report, well, we got 300th and 297th, look pretty good. They got gravelled, I believe, Monday. Shouldered, yeah, topsoil then shouldered. So that, I believe, is completed. Parking lot's been restriped. There's been some signs repaired. I guess that's, we put 9 ton of patching material on 297th, and there's,
Walker Avenue.
well, yeah. It's the patch, I'll tell you. So, yeah, and that's, there's still a few more in there that gotta be patched, and then there's some over on 100th yet too, but other than that, it looks pretty good.
Discuss, approve, disapprove road repairs on 297.
So is this the one where we want to discuss how much more patch are we gonna be
I
doing?
believe that's what this is.
Yeah, because it's crumbling.
What's the guy's name, the racer?
Yeah,
Dennis?
Dennis.
So then I guess the question is, how much patch do we continue doing to hold us together with the thoughts of it's gonna ultimately be reconstructed? I would think the onus would be on us to do whatever's absolutely necessary. Keep it workable, passable, including maybe even another patch of a little greater scale. Only to hold it together until we actually get to rebuilding it, right? I mean, once it becomes unsafe, forced to do something, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you don't wanna leave it undrivable, but there's also a point where, what do you call undrivable versus? You gotta maintain it to a certain point, but you also too many resources in it. I don't know if you necessarily every pothole, but safe enough for them.
Right, absolutely. As the road guys, yeah.
When are you guys going out for
the
those?
24th.
June?
Yeah, next Wednesday, I'm gonna take Joan and we're gonna
Okay.
take the contracts and do some door knocking. See if we can't get some more signatures.
Just a question on this, Bob, maybe this is something you know, or Sam, how many, are left on 297th versus Hunter Street? Like 60/40 or?
There's more signatures that have to be signed over on 100th than there is on 297.
Okay. This road is getting that bad and getting that much attention.
The thing is, over on 100th, there's specific people that own more lots over there, all in their names, so I think if we can get together with them, I mean, that's gonna be a huge coverage right there versus a person here and a person there.
But be a good salesman and tell them, hey, our guys are out here on 297th, if you want it done, let's go. Let's get this road done. All the work, you can tell them how much patching you're doing. The complaints we get, because a lot of it is on 297 potholes.
And Alan also discussed, I mean, because it would be ultimately nice to get phone numbers. Another thought would be to send a letter to these residents asking us to contact City Hall. And once we talk to them, we can ask them, their wishes. We can ask them for their phone number, because we discussed that too. That's another thought.
Yes. I'd let them know that you're trying to get a hold of them as well. Set up appointments, whatever. As easy as cold calling and maybe just say, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have that's an interesting concept. What would happen to the trajectory of this entire project? 297th first, because
Yeah, I mean, it'd be some work on our ends. We probably would have to revise the construction plans to. I can't put any numbers to
I mean,
it. Some work.
the economies of scale will be lost.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, by adding the two projects.
it's still, I mean,
How much is that? Because how much is that versus literally condemnation?
I mean, if you're talking like bid price wise, I mean, 297th is still a good
Right.
size project. If you bid it at the right time of year, then for sure, I mean, I don't think you might get better prices, slightly better if you whole, but you definitely will still get competitive pricing.
But I mean, yeah, if we still have holdouts on 100th Street, we got everybody on 297th is really deteriorating because of the thought of moving forward.
But do you have I don't have my chart here. Is everybody on 297th?
I don't think we have everyone, but I think what we're getting,
I've
might
got
be
a list.
more, we might be closer to.
But if I still have to do one versus, you know, if
Yeah,
I don't have
exactly.
everybody,
right.
I don't have it.
Well, and that's the other part of this too, as far as, you know, when we're out talking to the people, let them know
Addresses.
we're coming with a road. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If we can work something out here at this point in time.
If we can get everyone on 297th.
And I think what I've heard through the grapevine, ultimate, in the very beginning, there was a letter that went out that said we're taking 14 feet, which is not the truth.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
14. But anyway, you know what I mean? And that's what everybody believed, and this is just absolutely not the case. So another thought would be, discuss just a little bit, I don't know that we've ever done any surveys or gone out and put any stakes think the line would be. Would it behoove us to think about doing that so at least the people could see what the stakes are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're not taking 14 feet on it. I'm not sure how that came about, but here it is, and that seems to be something we're fighting at this point. Anyways, but also too with that, we are so in deep with the expenditures on this particular project, these two roads, that literally it's getting to a point where we're coming with a road. Hope we can understand. Everybody to sign, because we're not really taking anything. But I mean, it's still gonna be their lands, it's still gonna be the road right away might have gotten a little wider, but that doesn't mean the public can go. Their lot lines are still.
And Mr. Mayor, if we do 297th and everybody on 100 sees how that, where it takes and what that project looked like, similar to 100th, that might sway some of those holdups.
Yeah, I mean, it's the amount of resources that Public Works is out there, just band-aiding this thing. Wear your suit out there, Al. Make it look good.
So you think you have more way on 297th to do that first?
We're closer on 297.
we only have six more to go on 297th. And the other one, I don't know, we still got like 11 of them over again on
They're
100.
larger people and larger parcels of land, but yeah, I mean, with 297th, I mean, that's the main where they're patching constantly. Just the reason.
So if we get down to a handful of holdouts, can we move forward with, call it the taking?
Yes. I mean, you can always move forward with the taking on any of these projects. You just have to tell me, okay, we've gotten as many easements as we think we're gonna get. We're now move. And we initiate the condemnation process. We do the quick take procedure as best we can, as fast as we can, so that Sam can put this out for bid and we can move. I guess the question is, we always would hate to spend any kind of money on all that. And if there's only 6 more needed for 297th, is there a timeline that you could grant yourself of time, you know, what's the time period that you're gonna spend to try and get those signed easements? And after that, Bob, your office, you're unleashed, go do it, you know?
What kind of timeline are we, if we isolate 297th and just do that project, what kind of timeline do we get the best bidding out? When do we start that? Would be bidding, and I would
Early
say.
in the spring would be the best for bids, because that's when everybody's hungry.
So
So we have, if we're doing that, we're already missed the timeline for now. Are you looking at it for next year to do?
Yeah, I was thinking we're.
First spring would be the best right at this
So
point.
the earliest we could, the best pricing, the earliest you could go is probably December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, this is gonna be a next year project regardless.
Oh, I would think so.
So why don't we put your best suit on and hit 297 and see what we get within the next 2 months?
And could I ask if take a look at the remaining, Al, you said, I'm not holding you to it, but it was around 6 more easements for that
Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
I would suggest to everybody on the council that you look at these remaining 6 individuals and who has the best relationship. Does anybody, does it have to be Al that approaches them, or could
They're
it-
all his neighbors. You get along with everybody, don't you, Al?
So far.
Most part. They still,
Most part,
they
yeah.
still like you? Could you mow their
I
lawns or
haven't been
something?
shot at or anything yet, so.
Throw some eggs?
Bring some eggs.
But yeah, I mean, that would be, then maybe we do, then in that case, if we could get the 6, then we split the projects. And we do 297th first and then keep working on 100th Street.
Well, either that, we can work on that and see if we can't get all them signatures and keep working
Keep working on it, but
on 100th.
at least you have options.
If you get all the 6, then you can start dangling the carrot like, might be splitting this up, might not be doing 100th Street. You guys are just gonna have to live with it.
And again, there then would be some legwork on our end. We'd have to let MinDOT know first and
I
foremost.
was gonna bring that up
The change,
because we're already talking with them at this point in
Yeah.
time. It's in their court, if you will. What kind of change would you anticipate that they have, or balk or whatever?
From their standpoint, I don't think much. It's the same project, we're just lessening it. But again, they'd probably treat it as a new submittal.
Well, and even if it was, and we were planning it to be a next year scenario, it's probably still in the time.
Yeah.
If we made.
Again, if we could bid latest by March. Or you'd probably get your best pricing if you had it in January.
I mean, if we get the easements, we're ready to rock. Except for MinDOT,
Except for
we're ready to rock. The plan's in place, everything, the drawings are done, we're ready to go out for bid, so that would be the only thing.
Yeah, if you got all the easements, we would just have to finalize things with MinDOT.
Mr. Mayor, Bob, how long, if we say we have one holdout, because Al is not persuasive enough, how long does it take to get that condemnation through the process so we can start the project?
We should probably be able to have everything ready to go for a next year project, but we would probably need to know within the next month or so. I mean, I think if like by this time, if, next month, when we come for the third Wednesday of the month, if you would probably know by then whether you're gonna be successful in getting these, and then we would execute. And then I would need to know from the council, are we just going after anybody that's remaining on 297th? Or are we going after the whole project? My understanding at that time is you'd be looking at switching gears and doing 297th and maybe 1 or 2 holdouts. We start the process and maybe that gets them to the finish line, get us, because even though we start the process for quick take, doesn't mean we can't settle with anybody at any point in time. If the less people we have to work with, the better. So,
Well, maybe Al's real persuasive and we get a bunch on the 100th, but I mean, 7th going and let's hit them all, but
Well, I'm gonna hit them all, but I'll start on
yeah,
297.
and see what you can.
Because there's only 6, and I think it just by starting there would be it.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
get-
plus that way, if other people are saying, well, I don't wanna sign it because nobody else is gonna, I'm gonna say, hey, these are all signed.
Yeah, and then if we get that one done, I'd like to see 100th, but it'd be nice to get everything done, but it's
But
more
I-
cost to go after more.
but I also can tell you from doing, I mean, we all go to meetings for, and Sam, I can tell you, where you have a track record of success, it makes it easier for other people to go and sign these easements. They need to see that you guys that you do take the minimum amount you need, that you do a good project, and that their land is restored, and, you know, the promises you made, you've kept. Those things do mean a lot to people, and word of mouth is major. And so I would rather try to get easements from people. I would still suggest, Al, if you know all these people, they're your neighbors, fantastic. But for maybe the others on 100th Street, I know one time, a couple of months ago, Jeff, you mentioned you knew a lot of these people. Maybe you should be a person that might be the primary mayor, Scott, anybody, Tom, whoever has the best relationship with them should be the one. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a specific. You're just trying to answer their questions and assure them that, this is in the best interest of themselves and the community. And if they have questions and they need information, then you need to be able to relay that back to Sam or I, about what is their concern, and maybe we can alleviate it. For a lot of these, once we found out what their issue is, Sam's been able to work with his office and redesign the easement to accommodate people. But unless they tell us what their concern is, we don't know.
Well, there was two concerns on 100th for sure. One of them was big trees in their front yards that they don't want taken down. But I think we can work around that a little bit, because I think they're, even though we want that 7 feet, I think, over on 305th, we left some of them bigger trees over there, I think. And then the fences. Price over there, he just put that fence in there, and he was just livid that he would have to move that. But if he did have to move it, I don't know what we'd do there. That was the big deal, was the fence over there.
Mr. Mayor, wasn't it discussed that we would do something with the fences, but we're not reimbursing for trees?
Yeah, no, we weren't gonna reimburse anybody.
Yeah, but if there was a fence, we would.
Move it.
Yeah.
Move it to where it needs to be. I mean, if it's in what would be the road right away now, or if it's still where it is would remain in the road right away, and it needed part of the project, move it.
No cost to the.
All right.
Okay, well, let's keep this ball up in the air, because I think we may end up splitting this just to move forward on something. That may help, but if we can make it all happen in one shot, push for that, obviously.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Can I just get clarification? Do you want a letter sent to ask residents to call with their wishes and of that sort, and for me to go with Al?
Yes.
So both?
Yes, I think so, because that way they'll be aware of what's coming.
Yes.
On a specific day then. That would help too.
And if that day doesn't work for them, let them.
Have them call and we can change it.
Well, we're not gonna get a letter to the residents before we go on the 24th. I'm just saying that maybe we do the letter after to kind of see our results that we get. Like you said, it'd be very helpful. If we could
Yeah,
do some
well,
numbers.
that would make sense, because let's see what we can do going out, and then what we got left over, give them a letter to contact us if possible.
Excellent. Alrighty, anything else on that? Table items, approve, disapprove, consulting agreement for solar app and permitting software, Mr. Case.
This is baseline. We'll have Adam speak to it.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Adam. I head up all the baseline stuff, and I have in front of you the Solar App Plus consulting agreement, which I believe was spoke about at the previous city council meeting. I was made aware of 3 questions that were asked. I have a cost assurance document that I gave to city staff before this meeting, but I also have some copies that I can hand out, because I believe not everyone has one. Is that correct, Joan?
Yeah, if you would, please. Scott has one, but
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, so the three questions that I was made aware of is, first one was on a cost assurance, that there would not be any additional fees after the implementation, anything for software updates, either on the Solar App Plus side or on the baseline side. So the document that I have in front of you on that cost assurance is dated for today, and my signature on the bottom essentially details out that the Solar App Plus product is a system that was developed under the U.S. Department of Energy. It's a nonprofit company now that charges contractors depends on the application, it's between $35 and a $55 application fee when they submit their permit through their online processing platform. So there's no cost to the city for either the adoption of that platform or for the continued use of it. The maintenance, the updates, the upgrades are all paid by solar contractors when they submit those permits through the platform. So that was a written assurance, as I believe the question that was raised was to have more than the simple verbal about the continued costs that the city could pay beyond the initial implementation.
Sir, do you have another copy of that?
Of the assurance?
Adam, how many have there been in other jurisdictions?
In other jurisdictions for the Solar App Plus?
Yeah.
I've implemented this in 14 different cities.
Okay.
The first one was in, I believe, August of last year.
we do a lot of these permits though, and have we did any in Baldwin?
Yes, so I also have the stats since 2022 from when Rum River Consultants became the billing official and started taking over the permits. There's been a total of 14 residential solar permits. 9 of those were when Baldwin was a township, and then the last 5 have been as a city. So kind of the other 2 questions that were raised were the total solar history for Baldwin, as well as if this was for solar farms at all or for only individual solar systems. Solar App Plus is only for residential existing homes that are installing rooftop solar systems. This is not at all for any commercial widespread scale solar farms. It's strictly limited to 1 and 2 family dwellings. Again, existing homes that are then installing solar systems on the rooftop. So,
Just to clarify, the incentive will be 10,000, and then Baldwin will keep 5,000, and you will get 5,000, is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay.
So in the other 14 jurisdictions that I've gone through this, it's ranged in the amount, of course, that they've received, but this is all coming from a $2 million fund that the state set in May of last year. Those funds go through either until they're exhausted and the program runs out and expires in June of 2028. So I've been going to the various jurisdictions that are set up on baseline. I'd say the biggest ones that I've done this with it would be the city of Andover, Anoka. Closest one maybe to Baldwin would be the city of Nowthen that I've gone through the same exact process with. So we've been working with Solar App Plus now for a little over a year to learn more about their platform. Of course, did a analysis of their system and their tools with Rum River Consultants to make sure that the things that this platform were checking was checking the right things and would be a valuable addition to the permitting process for residential solar systems. And then only after that evaluation did we integrate it into baseline and then start to implement it in the various jurisdictions.
And that is what this is all about, is the funding to implement.
Correct. So the funding, the payment to baseline is strictly drawn from the funding received by the city through the incentive application. So this is no cost to the city. The $5,000 as well that the city then would retain is not, there's no match required or any spending guidelines from the state. The city can use those funds for any purpose. So it's an incentive program rather than a grant where there's anything tied to the money.
I didn't see anything reviewing the contract, and the handout today seems to be consistent with the contract.
Mr. Mayor, in looking at this, I just wanted to make sure there was no cost to the city, and this is, something that we would go forward, and there's no recurring costs, and those questions were answered. I would recommend that we ask for the incentive from the state, and then we have $5,000 that we either can put in a contingent fund if anything pops up, or we can just use it for other projects. I would make a motion to approve the consulting agreement for the solar app for permitting.
Second. I'll second it. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Excellent. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Adam. Alrighty, letter B, discuss, approve, disapprove, iPause, text my gov alerts, Mr. Gates.
So we've been, this has been tabled a few times, so just trying to get the correct packages. So, Joan, just to clarify, currently we pay for our Text My Gov, a annual fee of, is it 4,000 currently? Okay. So we have the three, we have the EMA, the premium package. We pay 4,000 to go to the EMA, which has the National Weather Alert Service, would be an extra $750 the first year, but an annual cost of $5,500, so it'd be $4,500 annual. The premium package, which then also gives voice calls, surveys, mass email capabilities, and media package is is then the price on that. I don't know if you have that up there, Joan. That the recurring cost is 5,000, so it's 1,000 more a year. The first year total would be an extra 500, so it'd be 5,500 versus the 4,000 right now. 3-year contract, correct, Joan, if I remember? 3-year contract? Or a 3-year contract, so it would stay at 5,000 for 3 years if we did the premium, or we stay at the 4,000, which we currently have. It's just a recommendation. Whatever the city council would be open to, you can see what we have. The reason we looked into this was the weather alerting system. With just the extra 500 annual, we get the weather alerting plus all the voice calls, the surveys, all that extra packages that we could have through the Text My Gov system. Joan,
As an addition, that's annually.
that's an annually.
Yeah. One thing that I seen this too, I don't know if you guys seen that email from Bruce Milsel about the sirens. He did refer to the iPods, some other apps to use.
The sirens are from the 1950s, and they're getting rid of those, if my memory serves me correct from the, and they're going to the iPods system for public alerting, which is integrated into this already for weather alerting.
Other thing too is Bruce Milsel did say that he would be open to coming here to discuss the sirens. So maybe there would be something that the county recommends.
I think for the National Weather Service, most of us get on our phones.
Well, that's if people who have cell phones, I have a neighbor who does not. I don't know what the.
If they don't have a cell phone, then.
Yeah, then when, so the Text My Gov doesn't work anyway, but with the, excuse me, it's just the alert system, whether you have a weather app on your phone that alerts you. Not everybody does. If they have our Text My Gov through the city, they get it locally for this. I mean, I get weather alerts for all over from, depending on where it is. Yeah, we already pay $4,000, so it's just for the Text My Gov. This would be the weather alerting system, and if we wanted to do more things where we could do surveys on it, where we get feedback on our Text My Gov, which currently we do not get. So that's the thought.
$500 more?
It's 4,000, what we have right now. It'd be 5,000 to get, yeah, another 1,000, but the first year cost adds another 500 to it. We would then get the National Weather Service. We'd also get the surveys, mass email capabilities, because we can do the Text My Gov throughout. And if they have emails, they give us email addresses. My understanding is that we'd be able to do it out that way and just send it off from here. So, just the thought process. My recommendation is for the cost, the annual cost is $1,000 more. First year is $1,500. For that amount of money, I think it's worth at least to try it. We can always go back. It doesn't mean we're stuck at that forever, but we do the 3 years, we see if it works, if there's something that we use. If we don't, we can just drop back to the basic Text My Gov.
I've heard from many residents, they like the Text My Gov, like that information.
Right.
I've never heard anybody say school referendum and out on Text My Gov.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Text Gov is, I was skeptical of it first, but I've been hearing things about it, but I just don't know about weather alerts, I mean. But I get your point, we got people, my mom's not computer savvy, stuff like that, she does have a cell phone. I wish she'd learn how to use Google, but, instead of calling me, but I just don't know.
You'd mentioned the sirens in the 1950s or whatever. I will assure you that the sirens that are mounted out there, like the one in County Road 2, and were recent. There was no siren when I was a kid. Nothing. The only thing you would hear was the city of Princeton.
Right, but they're talking about disabling them. That's the problem.
So there's going to be no attachment. The National Weather is not going to send out a signal to them.
That's what we're trying to determine on that. But at this point, it sounds like what I was reading in those emails that we got was that they're disabling those.
Yes, there's an email that I sent you guys today from Bruce Millsalt and
Right.
Yep. And then none of the cities or townships, any of the other ones, are going to support it either, correct?
so basically all of them are, there's a few, Livonia's contemplating it, but basically all of them are.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with trying it. Doesn't fit.
I think it's worth a try. If we don't, we don't, but I just think it's worth a try for $1,500.
Well, you're asking for the premium that's got the doing surveys and stuff. Do we need to be doing surveys? What are we asking? What are we allowed to ask? Are we allowed to ask, do you mind spending $4,000 on a new city hall? Is that a question that we can ask on that?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
They got your vote then?
What are the wishes of the council? Want to think about it a little bit more, whatever, we can table it to the next meeting with this information? Clear the table stuff off, this one? Try it for $1,500? More than what we normally would? Because I think we would have the ambition to renew it as is, because we like it, so. You want to add $1,500.
But the premium includes the EMS, or the weather.
Yep.
So you get the whole smash.
We can get the weather just for the $500 more, we
Yep.
get the whole smash.
You're recommending going for the whole smash, what your recommendation was.
My recommendation is to go for the whole smash, the whole thing, the premium package, just to try it. And if we don't like it, we drop back at, it'll cost us $1,000 for 3 years, or 3,500 because of the first year, but for over a 3-year period, it'll cost us $3,500 more for the whole contract. And if we don't like it, we drop it back to, just the straight core package.
Yeah, that contract there just says that they require.
I'll make a motion to change it from the core package to the premium package.
Is there a second?
I like watching the mayor's.
Huh?
I like watching the mayor's.
I'm a little skeptical on this one, sorry. That's the 3-year deal.
Motion and a second. Is there a second? I'll second it. I want to move this along. I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries.
By the motion.
All righty. Now I got all messed up. All righty, new business. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution 2617, appointment of election judges.
This is for the primary election. There is a list that was provided to the city council in the agenda packet and is attached to resolution 2617 for the election judges.
All of these people are trained?
They are going through training. This year, they do need the 2 hours of mandatory training. Most of them are doing it online. There is probably 3 that are going to Sherburne County with me tomorrow morning from 9 to 11. But that training will be completed mostly online. I gave them till July 20th to get that.
And all of these are willing, correct?
Yes. Yep, I am short one for a certain party that I usually struggle to get, but hopefully somebody comes along.
Make a motion to approve.
For a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Discuss capital improvement plan. Mr. Case.
The fire department, public works, we've had our individual capital improvement plans, but I was recommended to me to have a overall city capital improvement plan, what our plans for the future. Doesn't mean we're putting any dollars into anything, it's just what we're looking for long-term as a city in a capital improvement plan. I don't know if Bob has any background on these at all, or talk about it, but,
It's mainly something usually the engineers handle with the clients, because it's a major, usually the capital improvement plans usually deal with roads. Are you talking about
but
infrastructure?
so the reason I was told about it is if we, USDA rural development, one of the requirements, if we want to get a low-interest, long-term loan, is to have a city capital improvement plan and have whatever thoughts of we want to do in that capital improvement plan. Doesn't mean we're not putting any dollars, doesn't mean we have to do it, just means we have to have it if we ever want to apply for anything like that. And the rural development does 40-year loans at, last I heard was 3% interest rate. So those are things that we could do, we could do, long-term at low interest rate, but we have to have the things in place. There's a couple more hoops to do if we want to do road projects or if we want to do anything like that, we need to have that.
I think Dan should speak on that. He's did one for Otsego.
Mayor, so capital improvement plan is basically a budget. Cities will expand it beyond just typically roads or major improvements. Equipment purchases, all the way, some cities will set a dollar value. Anything that's gonna cost over $10,000 needs to be programmed as part of your capital improvement plan. Placement, maintenance of buildings that needs to be taken care of is, building at this point, so we're gonna target, what that's gonna cost, so that as you're budgeting term, building reserves for things and various that you can account. It helps then when things come up at council meetings, like, oh, should we buy this? Well, have we considered this as part of our capital improvement plan? That going forward. Could look at a couple examples to start with, and then
I think that would be good. And the whole point of this is we have a capital improvement plan with roads and those types of things. We're talking about additions to that. Would we include things like parks and future for those?
so the park equipment at park has a 25-year lifespan. Budget for when that start setting part of the levy aside into a reserve fund that builds up. Doesn't result in.
And then to answer for you, I would also suggest you talk with rural development, because they may have certain federal requirements for what their version of a capital improvement plan in order to qualify what you need, which may be different and different information that is required to be provided. So I would start, if you're looking for any term of long-term financing from rural development, that would be where I would start. Also, I would also just say, a lot of communities, rural development is a long-term financing source, but they have a lot that you have to jump through.
And that's one of the things that I'm
A
planning.
lot of communities have said, there's too many hoops, we don't want to spend that much time and money and effort to do it. So again, it's an option, though.
Just to look in, but that is one, I think we need a citywide capital improvement plan, whether we do it or not, whether we go rural development or not. I'm just saying, right now, we have one for the roads and we have one for the fire department, but we don't have citywide as what's for parks or what any of the other facilities or replacements for that kind of thing. We don't have it. And I think with Dan's help, just to get something basic, set up as for the city to have a capital improvement plan.
I agree, yes.
Joan, does Zach provide you anything for Public Works? For like the trucks? Nothing? Okay.
And that's part of that whole thing that I think we should have.
Probably want, if you.
Well, Mayor, we've done everything by ad hoc. We came from Jess Hall carrying the checkbook for the township in his back pocket. It was ran.
Come a long way.
If you wanna
Excellent.
work with Zach, then.
Do you know, Dan, if that, what we're talking about or what you have as examples, something that fits in?
A lot of cities use this format consistently. Bill, Otsego uses the same. It's basically, you can make it as thick or thin as you need to.
Sounds like a lot of workshops.
Something.
Would Mr. Lick be able to get us some examples so that then get it to the city council so we can at least not reinvent the wheel, and then maybe we change some stuff and put our stamp of what we need in there, and we can get it from each department and see where we're at.
Stardust on.
Send Mr. Lick if you say, get it to you by tomorrow.
The email's already started.
See?
Probably on its way
I
already.
am,
Joan doesn't quite have it yet. Okay. Okay, so letter C, discuss, approve, disapprove, emergency procedures.
This was emergency procedures that came from the league through with Joan, that they wanted some emergency procedures for everything over here in case this happened, that happened, that happened, and chart as we go through it, if you want to look at it. It's pretty basic, but it at least gives you an idea of if there is a criminal thing happening, where we should go or what we should do. There's an injury kind of thing. Disturbances. You can see as you go through it, Joan, if you can look at hostile people, utility issues, all that kind of stuff. What should we do in case of those things? And just gives you a guideline that just should be looked at periodically by staff, just to make sure that we are doing the correct things and we know where. So if we do have another tornado that comes in this area, where is staff going? Where are we, what's the safe place or whatever? Is there a safe place? That kind of thing. So, and where the fire extinguishers are and where the medical first aid kits. And now that we have an AED here, it shows that and that kind of thing. So that's what we were working on and got her done. So.
Is this a draft, or is this something you're being proposed for the city council to?
This is a proposal, I believe, right? Yeah. 'Cause we worked on it with the league and what they wanted in there. Unless there's something that you.
One question I saw in there, just because it says, throughout the document, it says, like, notify the building supervisor if they are not already on site. But who's the building supervisor? Is there, that's throughout the document, and that was one question. Everything else, it seems to be self-explanatory.
Right, and the building supervisor would be, I get, in that, it probably should get verbiage changed to the city clerk for this, Zach for the maintenance facility, the fire chief for that facility. That would those were.
I think that's what was probably, okay.
Just with that change of verbiage, this document, Joan, this came from League of Minnesota Cities, right? So the document came from there, and it's just an oversight, I believe.
No, it's a one-size-fits-all and everything, but I think with one sentence added, the building supervisor for city offices, building supervisor is the city clerk. For the fire hall, the building supervisor is the fire chief. For public works,
Right.
And that would all you'd need to add, Joan, and then this language could stay the same.
Pick a page.
I'm looking at, it's throughout the document. But you could probably put that definition in the very beginning of, which would be, title page being 1, 2.
How about under the chain of
4.
command?
You just need to define the term. So maybe, under cities building utilities, that's usually where I first saw this. And that would, right in the beginning, you could add, for building, the building supervisor shall be, and then colon, and then city offices, city clerk, fire hall, fire chief, and public works, building, the public works supervisor.
With those additions, contingent on those additions, we could approve this, correct?
You do, but it doesn't define the term building supervisor for purposes of the document. But it doesn't say which, I think you would want to make it right underneath that or right at the top of that page that says city building utilities, right up front here. You could just say building supervisor shall be colon, and then city clerk for city offices, fire chief for fire hall, and Zach's title for public works building. And that would, I think, address. Well, on bomb threats, you'll be the last one here.
You have to go jump on.
Shield me.
Hey, look, okay, so
Makes sense?
So, Tom, the vice mayor diffuses the bomb.
okay, yeah, that's a. I'll make a motion to approve it pending, those changes that Bob mentioned.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Thanks
Same
for
sign.
who worked on it.
Yes. Motion carries. Discuss, budget reports, clerk.
I provided in the agenda packet, kind of just an overview of the line items that are over budget. This doesn't mean anything wrong, it just says that adjustments need to be worked on, which I will be working on, like Scott indicated in the past. Some of these are because there's budgets for some lines that have zero budget, so we just have to take something away from another line that's just adjustments only. I had discussed with Mayor Swanson about setting up reporting, a new report that I've observed from other jurisdictions that kind of shows the budget amount, how much spent, and then a percentage, so it'll be 3 columns going forward. But this, yep, quarterly. But this just shows kind of the line items that we need to make adjustments for. With going to the new chart of accounts, there's been some, modifications to the line items for the budget amounts, so we'll have to adjust them accordingly. Anything that was under budget, we'll have to adjust that accordingly, kind of rob Peter to pay Paul. But going forward, our budget reports will be more of an overview.
Schedule budget meeting. Start.
So you got the holiday coming up, so, next week, is this the planning commission? Is it Wednesday? Push it out to July.
July 13th.
Days that? That should work.
For everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, need a motion to approve July 13th.
So move.
Second.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Okay, letter F, discuss, approve, disapprove pay increase in the COLAs for employees. This is on me. It says my name by it, but there was a change that happened already to our maintenance department and the large increases. I guess I need to know from the council, do we want to do those similar increases to our staff? well. And also too, I would say that COLA increases, we have a relatively new hire that came on as a wage, so there wouldn't be an increase in that. And we had huge increases for our two maintenance department people, so it doesn't need to be a cost of living as far as that goes, because they got that big raise. I think that we add it to that, they already got it. And so what do we want to do with the clerk? Because as I recall, there was a comment made by the clerk and later. They were only doing-
So, Mr. Mayor, so yeah, so for the maintenance employees, that was a market adjustment for both of them to bring them in place. So yes, I'm entertained, to make a market adjustment for the clerk and deputy clerk. But I don't, I was looking at the, did everybody look at the spreadsheet that was sent out earlier this week?
I looked at it, I think we need a little more dive into it so we can figure out which number is appropriate, to be honest, because they're all over the place.
Yeah, I saw that. There was like 20, the range.
It's a huge difference in range. I think we need to at least wait, take the next 2 weeks, take a look at it.
Excuse me.
And then make that adjust. For me personally, I think we take the next 2 weeks, we look at the numbers. If you want, I will help with Joan and take a look at those numbers and see where that is appropriate for that number and
Come back
bring
with
a
a recommendation.
bring back a recommendation.
The last one, we weren't all together, it wasn't here.
Yeah, I mean, the intent was to have all the employees' wages looked at.
The FTEs,
Yeah.
the FTEs.
Yep, to look at and come back, or, you know, where they fall. So I don't have a problem with the mark adjustment for them. Can look at it. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at it. Okay. I mean, I was looking at today, so
Yeah,
I agree with you, it's all over the board.
Yeah, it's all over the board, and I think we need to look at where these cities that are paying this are located and what, you know, what the duties those people are getting paid for are they doing. We can take a look at what would be the appropriate wage at that point.
So then I would also then suggest that, you know, if there is going to be an adjustment, which we believe there's going to be, I'm not sure that the COLA is appropriate at this point. For the same reason, if there's going to be the market adjustment we did for the other, COLA wouldn't apply to them.
And I would recommend we don't do a COLA at all because we're doing a different type of adjustment.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, market adjustment.
Market adjustment, yeah.
Okay, when did you said 2 weeks?
I think that
So
should be
July
enough time
meeting?
to take a look at it by the July 1st meeting and then, we get that.
Oh, you want July 1st? I thought maybe it was the middle of July, sorry, July 1st.
Yeah, I would think by the July 1st meeting, we'd be able to figure out what it
Okay.
would be. I mean, that's,
I'll make a motion, the table is to July 1st then.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, and then we had a request by the clerk, because we have, when people are coming in and out here, the suggestion, the clerk, the request from our clerk is to actually cut some of that counter down there so that the window for Kayla to deal with people, whatever, would actually be, and that Kayla could deal with the people for, and then Joan, when she's on the phone, wouldn't be as obtrusive to one another and trying to get their work. Literally, I mean, we can have Zach fire up the Sawzall and cut that out, throw some truck in there, or we could come up with some kind of a plan and see what an outside contractor would charge us to come in and do that. Question is, and that's, would help make this more serviceable at this point in time.
You want to put a divider?
Nope, just cut that. Yep.
is there electrical back there that we have to mess with?
I don't believe there's anything in here.
No more Mrs. Wilson?
That-
And then all that would have to get moved so people can actually walk up to the counter.
Yes.
We would probably need to get a partition up here too to kind of keep, I don't have any place to put the TV.
Or could you put the counter, so you have, put it just in between those two?
Have all that audio equipment back there.
Yeah, well, all right.
I would, that's something you're gonna talk to Zach about then? See what he can handle. If it's something we can, we have to. The three of them, they should be able to. Talented Mr. Ripley.
Excellent. So that's a motion to approve moving forward with that, at least at this point. Beyond what they can do.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to think about hiring somebody to do it. Is that a motion to?
Yes.
approve? All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, can we film the work? Might be some comedy.
Jesus.
You have the three maintenance guys?
I'm gonna say no. I would say that's probably not a good idea. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all
Hold
those,
on, one more thing. Do they all three have to go to Marv to get supplies?
more than likely, yes. Carry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now we also have an, Al, you added this, farmer's market.
Yeah, I've had people ask about a farmer's market, and I called Jeff the other day and left him a message, possibly looking for an area to put it. Either out here in the parking lot, or possibly the park, Young Park, or maybe even putting some gravel out at the new bridge.
Question for you. So with Young Park, are you, what day, like, because we have park rentals. Oh, I mean, it does get heavily used. We have the PYSBA, pretty much Monday through Thursday. One that was moved tonight from Zim because their fields weren't ready. What nights if you're possibly looking at Young Park?
That, I really haven't discussed that with anybody yet, because just trying to find out if if everybody would be okay with having one here.
I would think having it here would be more appropriate than out at Young Park, to be honest, because there's not enough parking out there if you do get a big crowd.
But what would be I mean, if we had it here, we can't really have it on a meeting night, you know?
No, if you're doing a farmer's market, you're probably doing it on a Saturday.
Well, see, he's booked right now, because
What's booked?
the guy that actually runs it and takes care of the farmer's market stuff,
Uh-huh.
they got Princeton on Saturdays.
Oh, so you want to
And
do
I
a
think,
different day?
I think it's Mondays in Zimmerman.
Uh-huh. What day would he want to do it?
Well, we would have to let him know to work it out with him, because there's insurance involved and stuff, and they do have insurance for that.
Yeah, but I'm not so worried about the insurance. I'm worried about, we have so many other activities going on at all these, at Young Park and here and that kind of
Here
thing.
with emergency services for the fire department. 'cause
Yeah,
they
well,
got
that,
meetings on
and you'd have to,
Tuesday and block their,
no, and there's other things there, so,
I mean, what would be a good day then, just to kind of mention it to him and
well,
let him,
find out what day,
Mondays or Thursdays?
Mondays or Thursdays?
Have Tuesday fire meetings.
What date did you say Zimmerman was?
Thursdays.
Said Monday.
Monday,
think
they're
it's
already
Mondays.
Monday, so.
Want to do it on a Friday? Would that? That would be one day when it's most likely nothing else. is
Nothing's going on, yeah.
Whether they want to do that or not.
I'm not opposed to it, but just.
Yeah, is anybody
Figuring out.
opposed to?
Do they need power for anything?
Well, they would bring their own power. They've got generators and stuff.
Yeah, I don't-
Got their counters, their tents and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they need,
Come in and set them up for 3 or 4 hours and.
Then we'd need to determine, I think, is it, so would it be this person, this entity, running the thing, setting it up, doing all of those kind of things? Or would the city have any onus?
Well,
No, before we get Bob involved, here, I want to nail down a few criteria. Because otherwise he'll go, we wanted to be out here at 8, you know what I mean? Anyway, so, no, but, right, because, you know, the question is who's asking for all this, you know what I mean? Literally, the vendor permits, the food licenses, if there's all of those kind of things, all of that would need to be
yeah,
established. I believe if it's gonna be the quote, event coordinator, whoever they are, then our agreement would be
with them.
not each individual. So I would suggest we bring back more information.
okay.
Find out,
Possibly even have them come in and talk, you know.
Certainly.
Yeah, I just told them I'd bring her and just discuss it a little bit.
Thanks, Al. All right, and then, and that's the other thing too, is maybe even think about running that through the park committee. See if there's any input from that or add to it or interest in it or
Well, Al might be subbing in for me tomorrow night.
excellent, so you'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, lastly but not leastly, letter I, the future of the 30 acres.
The future.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Holmes.
Oh, I was just telling Dana why I couldn't be at the meeting.
That mascara. I'd like to table this till the next meeting.
Okay, there's a motion to table to the next meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a
Thank
second.
you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Announcements, Park Committee meeting is Thursday, June 18th, at 7 PM. City Hall is closed Friday, June 19th.
Mayor's birthday.
Observance of my birthday, Juneteenth. The Planning Commission meeting is Wednesday, June 24th, 7 PM. Next city council meeting is Wednesday, July 1st at 7 PM. July 14th through July 18th, filing period opens for municipal offices. Mayor, a 4-year term, and 2 positions for the city council, a 4-year term. That's July 14th to the 28th. Any other business? Hearing none, that'll conclude the business other than a motion for bills for payment.
What a game. Bring on the Tar Heels.
And that was inspired by him over here with, well, we could do this and we could do. In good fun.
Just sign my check.
Dan, that's just some light reading for you.
Oh, yeah.
I sent Dan the City of Elk River Capital.
okay.
I sent it to the mayor.
Bob, we got your check, if you can stick around.
Do I tell Mike about it?
No, don't. You don't tell Mike. Did you already have, we missed out on Space Aliens, I take it? It's usually in the first week of June?
Next Thursday.
Oh, it's next Thursday. All right.
What time is the meal served?
I usually go long-winded in my lectures, so probably around 12-ish, you know.
Yeah, it's next Thursday, okay.
Might be in the area.
Ribs and beef brisket.
I'll have to take half a day.
Used to be baked potatoes, like now she does potato salad.
Oh, it's over here. AI generator here. You got,
You have a good memory. I forgot about it. She had to remind me.
Well, I normally, it's in the first, it's in June, I know.
but he was over here saying, well, we could work on this and we could.
You can be replaced.
Yeah, if he
Yeah, right?
cancels on me, I'll be here.
Okay.
You gotta zoom in and see the titles there.
Ask if you wanted me to come.
Well, I don't,
Yeah, I guess.
it's just a scoreboard, because we're not doing the comprehensive plan until July.
July after the, yeah.
That's a good one.
I just made it with an AI.
I don't
Did you?
think you would have to,
Dang, I want it.
because
I don't wanna
it's
charge
just,
you money if I'm not.
Well, yeah. Cause it's just a scoreboard
Yeah.
and the,
Commissioner,
then about the lots,
yeah.
the baseball. And Jeff, we're not doing anything at Young Park for baseball fields, so.
You know, I should have just discussed the thing tonight. Held you up from getting to the bathroom.
What? He's not, he is?
Well, you're welcome then.
Wait,
Appreciate it.
oh no, is it,
I have to admit that even.
I don't even know if he mentioned it to Bob, cause it's,
You wanted to table it, I went, thank God.
here's your.
Age sucks.
Telling you.
Is it too late to bring up something for other business?
Yeah, we're past other business. I'm sorry.
Bogar,
Gokar,
Bokar.
I mean, it's something that, he's not, and I talked to Bob about this, is that keep calling him, keep, emailing him, and he's.
Oh, yeah, he owes us.
I would have Jeff call him. I'll make a motion,
Why me? I'd like to hear why.
cause you're persuasive.
Oh, this is that whole thing with the speed bumps?
Yeah.
God, that's a couple years ago.
Oh, shit. Oh, I missed that one?
Do you want me to send a letter, or do you want to
Oh, it
have
was?
somebody else get in touch with them, or?
How much money have we gotten back from them?
I don't know.
We got most
We-
of everything.
We
right?
got most of it.
What are we missing?
And what's the dollar amount we're missing? Is it worth?
I guess I'm not seeing that, Joe. I guess I have to read this whole thing.
We don't.
How much how much are they deficient? I mean, what are we still owed under this?
I thought it was a done deal.
So Zach went down there, and he was short on some blank signs, and so they, that lane waiver he got from,
See if this game's over.
and it's
Oh, Tom,
right here.
What?
So pick
we're
up
gonna have to
date.
pull your claim.
1 large and 21 small double sheeted blanks.
No, it's
And that's the only thing?
future.
And the question is,
I know.
How much is that
I
worth?
told her I'm gonna exit off if it's not.
I mean, the question is, how much do
Talk to her
you
about
spend
that.
going
I'm already a
after,
step ahead of you,
you know?
Yeah, but, I mean, that's, I guess,
so. I might be here if he cancels.
about 145
I
times.
know.
So it's worth possibly
I'm sorry.
suing them for. I mean, the question is, do you wanna, does the council want me to send a letter, or does somebody else wanna get in touch with them?
Put that on.
Yeah, let's wait until the next meeting.
Paper push.
Yeah, and then just let me know.
I think the answer might be yes. because we-
Oh, baseball?
We need this question closed.
11-3.
Put it on.
They're playing Georgia right now.
Second meeting of the month.
Game 3.
This is game 2. No, the first, yeah, they already beat them once, so.
Right, I know that.
So Oklahoma will be playing the Tar Heels Saturday. Should be a good softball team, the girls choked. Texas Tech money. Beat them.
How about the nil?
Yep. I'm glad Salisbury's going to the Slumpleman draft. Guy gambled, kid.
This way, don't worry.
Oh, wow, you two didn't sign these.
Can't miss every. That's why he got you over there. Catching everything.
Back around. Sign them. This one too.
Thank you.
Was.
I know.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
I make a motion to.
Check number 29559 to 29588 for $45,250.63. 7 EFT payments for $6,711.82 for a total of $51,962.45.
Make a motion to.
Second motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign.
Adjourn.
Carries.
Oh, I got him.
I think Mr. Rush
I
beat
did.
it. Motion to adjourn.
Rush.
Is there a second? Well, he ain't gonna second it.
I know, I'll second it.
I'll second it. All right then. Motion is second. Any further discussion? I got a lot, but no. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. 9:27, we're done. Well, Sam, what do you think?